Welcome to the Custom Automotive Solutions YouTube channel, where passion meets performance and rubber meets the road. From the first turn of the ratchet to the first laps on track, we have you covered. We don't just fix cars, we build them and make sure every vehicle that rolls out of our shop is better than when it rolled in. Join us as we pursue our passion, because here at Custom Automotive Solutions, we don't just follow the road, we attack it. Should like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you. On today's episode, Cody encounters some race car problems, some control arm issues, and has to do a little bit of problem solving when things just aren't meant to be there.
Next, we're still waiting on a few fluids, so I think I'm going to go ahead and start replacing these lower control arms. It's got some ball joint wear, a little bit of movement, and the boots are pretty cracked. I'm not sure how much grease is left in those, so we want to replace these ball joints up here, but it's easier to just get them as a whole assembly with a control arm. Especially being race car, you're going to get new control arm bushings. So that's just, if these wear out, that's just more movement. And you want less movement at high speeds.
Yeah. And those control arms, these are the old ones, and these guys are the new ones over here, huh?
And that's just a little protective cover on the ball joint so it doesn't get damaged in shipping. So yeah, this is the guy I was talking about. So the nut's facing this way. If the bolt head was on this side, I'd have to drop the rack out I just put in to get that bolt out of the frame, because I'm going to have to take this bolt completely out of here to clear this arm. So thanks, Subaru. Did something nice for me today. Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to leave this bolt in because I want this to stay somewhat attached to the chassis while I get the ball joint out of the knuckle. So that's all loosened up and ready. Let's drop her down and get the ball joints knocked out. All right, just getting the clip off of the ball joint on this side.
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Going off this guy here. That's the ball joint for the control arm. And he just had a little clip on him like the tie rod ends did. So I'm assuming that's, now that I've seen it so many times, I'm assuming that's intentional because race car. Because these seem much more sturdier than the little tin cotter pin that's worth 3 pennies that they give you. That went right down here somewhere. There it is. See if this will give me enough to get off of the wheel bearing and not spin this off right in my face. Got him. Oh. That's a big nut. He's over there. Those came out nicely. I'd expect those to be a little more of a pain. Oh, that's going to be the fun part, is getting that ball joint to let loose. Because that's going to, it has a cone fit just like the tie rod ends. But that knuckle is a lot harder to hit where it's located. Downward pressure. There we go. And we can go ahead and finish taking this guy out. That bolt cracked loose earlier. Set him up there out of the way. Now, should be able to swing this guy right out. These are solid bushings.
Back down.
About that high.
You start right here with the brakes?
On this one, yeah. It's got caliper pins. What in the hell is going on here? Has he got the wrong pins? Yeah, on this particular one, you don't have to take the calipers completely off to get at the brake pads if you're just servicing the pads themselves, which is all we're doing on this one. There we go. I just noticed one of the brake pins wasn't installed fully anyways. This brake pin I'm pulling out right now just wasn't fully seated. Yeah, I guess it does have to pretty much push up flat. We have new pins, new spring clip, all the fun stuff. Very used. Not a lot left.
It seemed pretty easy to reinstall.
Oh, you'll have to recompress the caliper as well, because these pistons inside the caliper is what's pushing the brake pads against it, and those pistons are pushed out because those pads are worn down. So I'll hook up to the hydraulics and open the bleeder and push these back in, and it'll just push the old fluid out. That way you're not accidentally pushing air back through the system or create an air bubble. Now, air is bad. Air is bad in brake systems. Put that off. There should be one on the back. Yeah. So this is a 4-piston caliper. It's got 2 pistons on the inside, 2 on the outside, and they'll actually have 2 bleeders. So you have a bleeder on the outside for the outside pistons, and then you'll have a bleeder on the inside for the inside pistons. Just a little piece of information.
What's the slurry of fun?
That's just brake fluid. I'm just getting it ready to compress the pistons. This is just a vapor lock, so no air can go back into the system. So we'll just need my tools. We'll just crack this guy loose. Put our hose on here. Slight pressure just pushes the piston in. You can see in the bottle there, you'll see if there's any air, fluid coming out.
You can see a little bit of it come out.
Yep. It's got those 2 in. And the bleeders are connected. So right now I'm just hooked up to the front bleeder for the front 2, but I'm pushing fluid out from the rear pistons. So it's all one hydraulic system. So if you're doing what I'm doing, you don't need to hit both of them. But if you're doing a bleed, like you're trying to bleed air from the system, you will want to bleed both of them to make sure there's not an air pocket caught back there. Just kind of walk that guy around, hand tight there, and just a little snug. Whew, I'm gonna hang this on the other side so it's out of my way, and then finish the brakes over there.
You're putting in new brakes now?
Yep, getting ready to put the new pads in.
You should compare the last ones to the...
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean, that's the chamfered edge, probably better to look that way. Actually, better to look at the bottom because the top's lit. So yeah, that'll be the pad difference. So I've got lube on there. Get it into place. A little bit of lube on this guy. And these, you just want to lube the contact points. You're going to be kind of careful, and then where the pistons are going to touch the back of the pad. This one, the contact point's on the side, so I just put just a light coating there because you don't want any of that to get hot and bleed over to the brake pad. Just enough to stop it from rattling against the edge of the caliper. Alrighty, and grab the new hardware kit. New spring retainer, new pins.
Ooh, look how shiny those ones are.
Well, those aren't going to work.
Pourquoi?
Because I think these are for factory calipers, and these calipers are not factory.
Fluids are here.
Jason!
Fluids are here. Yeah.
We got a couple problems. The main one I just found out is these aren't going to work. I'm wondering if these are for factory.
Well, that was the thing, is his guide pins have been giving him a problem as they are.
Yeah, and these are not, they're too long. Like, it's fully seated here, so there's nothing holding it in. It just
And the
comes
other
out.
ones do the same thing pretty much, don't they?
No, the other ones go in, but one of them wasn't installed all the way.
So one of them was walking out on him
Yeah.
at one time.
Yeah, it was this upper one then that was partially walked out when I got in here.
So we'll reuse the pins that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then control arms. Just got this off.
Yeah.
This is solid mounts from Perrin.
In here.
Yeah, that's a Perrin control arm. Or at least all Perrin mounts. But they're all solid mounts. Does he want to rethink that, or does he want to just put the factory ones on?
Is this one solid too? No.
It's solid with a ball joint.
And that one is just like that. Okay, this is much nicer, yeah. So, let me call him, but my thought is maybe we just take those ball joints and we use the old ball joint press and we press this one out.
We can try.
That was my thought. It's either that or we press the other one out, press 2 out, and I think that would be the easier of the 2.
I mean, it definitely adds a lot more labor to the job.
Yes.
Because I'm not 100% sure these are designed to be pressed in and out.
Yeah, that's how they go. I mean, that's how they go in.
I'm more than once. Like, they've gotten to a point on cars where they're like, no, if you press these out, it damages the control arm.
I've never heard that. I think it's usually just more of a labor thing, from what I've understood. That people, and you gotta work for it. It's more labor, you know.
Yeah.
And most people would say it's more labor than the part's worth, and they just replace the part.
Oh yeah.
Except when we're putting in like monoballs and stuff like that. So I think the easiest thing is just this.
Yeah, I didn't see a ring. Hopefully it just comes out. Yeah. Because that one's kind of nasty.
Yeah, there's gonna be a.
No, there's
There
no
it
clip. That's under the boot.
Yeah, that is under the boot.
I don't think that's a C
But you
clip.
can get ball joints. If they sell a ball joint for it, usually they can press it.
And I'll try and figure out how to get this apart.
Brakes and stuff too, still you can do. So, you're good with
I don't know how well that's even gonna work, but it should just come out the bottom.
You're just gonna give it a thwack?
I'm gonna put some lube on it first, maybe hit it, probably grab an air hammer.
You did it.
Done. Man, that's chuncy. That shouldn't have come out that easy. The ball joint might not stay in. The ball joint is a very important connection to the chassis. I'm not sure if you've seen like the Toyota Highlanders, and they have like the front wheel, it's all like, they're on a tow truck. That's what broke is their ball joint.
Oh gosh.
It's a pretty common issue.
Oh, but that one came out pretty easily on the other one, huh?
Yeah, this one just kind of shot right out of there.
Why are we doing this?
Because they bought the wrong control arms. They bought factory control arms. And as you can see, these are far from same shapes, but they've got hard mounts in all the corners. Get them in flush. More for good measure. That's not supposed to be that easy. I would have been hammering that with a 3-pound sledgehammer for like half hour, 45 minutes. I would have had to go bust out the ball joint press, all that kind of stuff. Putting the pins back in. There we go. Well, he said he was having issues with his front pin walking out on him, and it wasn't wanting to seat properly, so I had to stick my head in there, make sure it was fully seated. I was in the middle of like 3 different things because we were missing parts. Trying to figure out the most efficient one to get back onto. I think it's probably the other control arm. Get this one back in. Oh. Right. Getting all the bolts back in here. We got taken out earlier. That way none of this falls apart. When I go like this and get the ball joint back in its home. Get these tightened back up. Make sure that's seated. Not sure if it matters with these ones, but let's do it.
Whenever you got a bolt
Like this, where it's going to pivot with the suspension. Suspension needs to be at ride height before you tighten them. May not matter for this because it doesn't have rubber bushings. It's generally just for the rubber bushings, but raise this, keeping an eye on the lift. Trying to see when I take the vehicle's load off the lift. As soon as I get this tight, I'll kind of show you a better view why. I'm gonna get this tightened down here. Okay. So, the factory control arms, you'd have a rubber bushing. And if your car's in the air and this is hanging down, suspension's fully hanging, and you bolt this bushing up tight, when you drop the car back down, it's gonna twist all this rubber as it rotates back up. And there's a chance you just rip this bearing out first time you go drive it. Because that's how they're assembled at the factory, is put the bolts in at ride height, tighten down. So you're just simulating vehicle load on the control arm, tighten the bolt down tight, and then allow it to come back down. Like I said, I don't know if that's necessary with these because they're solid bushings with metal sleeves, but it doesn't hurt. It takes like 5 extra seconds.
Better be safe than sorry.
Yep. Let's go ahead and get that ball joint nut back on. Put the pin back in. This one doesn't actually have a castle nut, but the pin still serves as something to help stop that nut from backing off, because there's no notches for it to lock into, but it can't back off through a metal pin, so that'll stop it. So this was loose already, I believe. Yep, I was ready to do the thing. Okay, that one fell off that. Okay. That was a little more stubborn than the other one. Bottom bushing for the control arm there. And the upper bushing. Well, hopefully this one comes out as easy as the other one did. That would be really nice. Oh, I have to reclamp that so that I'm not bouncing around. Got her in. Would have been a little easier if I could hit it right in the middle, but you know, that's where all the soft parts are.
Putting the other one back in.
Yep. This one's just wanting to fight a little bit more. Bushing's not wanting to line up. Man, getting those colors to fit together again was kind of a bear. Get the ball joint back into the knuckle. Oh. Go back to your home. All right, that's in. I can go ahead and sync these up.
What do you think?
Of what?
Control arm.
Of what?
Oh, you already got the new one in?
Yeah.
Oh! Fucking there. I wasn't out there that long, I didn't think. Did you have to use the press, or is it?
No.
Oh,
I used a hammer. Yeah, the first one came out scarily easy. I clamped it down onto your welding table and lined the stud up square and gave it the beans one time.
no shit.
I was like, I put the new ones in and I had to, they'd go in and then there'd be like a 1/4 inch and that last 1/4 inch was bare. So they're solid.
Crazy. I think that was a move over, dude, he's gonna waller these.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even want to keep going, because I was like,
There's no point. Don't do it if you're actually gonna track these things. All we're gonna do is just the ball joint.
don't be like me and forget your gun was on backwards. You're a nice guy.
There's a couple up there that are gonna be.
Never had that happen before. Did you catch that? Everybody always forgets to make sure that fill plug pops loose before you rip this drain plug out. Before you do anything, you need to figure out what this clunk is, this bang, because we need to figure out if we need to cut our losses or what.